Charlotte Flair makes her decision. Who's she facing at WrestleMania 41? What does the field for Elimination Chamber look like? All this, plus a look at what went down at Vengeance Day and the aftermath of NXT after Vengeance Day. I'm Scott McGregor. Let's talk Vengeance Day, NXT, Monday Night Raw, Elimination Chamber, and more. Let's get it rolling. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports from the fans' perspective. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Sports for Beginners, the podcast. My name is Scott McGregor. I am your host of the program. And this is episode 4 of season number 4. It's another WWE week in Sports for Beginners. Our last WWE week in Sports for Beginners for a little while. But you know what the best thing is? What's the best thing? What's the best thing? Well, the best part is that's right, you at home, get to witness baseball week coming back. But we'll talk about that more in a bit and what to expect. All right. I think it's about time we get down to business. Before we came on the air, I had a chance to check out NXT from Tuesday night. But before we get to NXT from Tuesday night, which is the aftermath after NXT Vengeance Day, let's take a look at our match card from NXT Vengeance Day. These are the matches that, to this point, we had, yes, I said to this point, we had, to this point, we had confirmed. We saw Oba Femi go one-on-one with Austin Theory, as well as Grayson Waller in a triple threat match to determine whether Oba would remain NXT champion. Also, in the main event at Vengeance Day, we had a fatal four-way to determine the next NXT Women's Champion. It saw Bayley take on NXT Women's Champion Julia, the Prodigy Roxanne Perez, and Roxanne's bestie Cora Jade. Also on the line at Vengeance Day, Stephanie Vakir took on Fallon Henley, as Fallon Henley defended her NXT Women's North American Championship. On the line, Trick Williams took on Eddie Thorpe in a strap match. Meanwhile, Javon Evans had some singles action of his own, but if, and only if, he could get medically cleared for Saturday, February 15th, 2025 at NXT Vengeance Day, he would take on Ethan Page. And we'll talk about Ethan Page in a little bit. And also up for grabs was the NXT Tag Team Championships, held by Nathan Frazier and Axiom, Josh Briggs, Yoshika Inamaru. Josh, if I pronounce the tag team partner of your tag team partner wrong, my sincerest apologies in advance. My sincerest apologies in advance if I pronounce the name wrong. I'll get it right as we go along. Moving on. Oba defended well against Austin and Grayson, so he remains the NXT Championship holder. Early on in the show, Stephanie Vakir defeated Fallon Henley to secure the NXT Women's North American Championship and become the first women from South America to win a WWE NXT Championship belt. Congratulations to Stephanie Vakir. And, of course, Nathan and Axiom retain, I believe, against Josh Briggs and Yoshika Inimaru. So we have a retain on the men's side, a retain in tag team championship action, a new North American champion, and on the women's side as well, Julia retains her North American Championship. Sorry, not North American Championship. NXT Women's Championship. Now for the aftermath, and we'll get to some takeaways in that in just a couple of minutes. But I want to also take a break because I also want to make sure we get to Raw. And I also want to save some time to talk about what's coming up next week on Sports for Beginners. So, with that said, before we take a quick time out, I'm going to get to some of my takeaways. Looking at our match card first, from the aftermath after NXT Vengeance Day. And if you want to learn more about all of the action in the WWE, head on over to WWE's website, which is going to be linked in the description of this episode, as well as their YouTube channel, also going to be linked in the description of this episode. For all the latest highlights, news, and analysis exclusives, you get the picture. With that said, let's get right to it. I will share my screen to get a look at our aftermath match card. Here we go. It was a number one contenders match for Fallon Henley's NXT North American Championship that was hers, but is now Stephanie Vakir's. And it featured Kelani Jordan and Jada Parker against Carmen Petrovich. Petrovich defeated those two women I just mentioned, Kalani Jordan and Jada Parker. So now, next week, she has earned her shot at Stephanie Vakir's NXT North American Championship as the winner of the #1 contender triple threat match this past Tuesday. And I say this past Tuesday because by the time you listen to this, we're getting ready for next Tuesday. Zaria and Soruka SR. Zaria, if I pronounce your tag team partner's last name wrong, my sincerest apologies. But they go toe-to-toe with Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson. They knock off Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend in tag team action. Probably going to be getting a tag team opportunity eventually. Channing stacks Lorenzon. He wanted to go toe-to-toe with the man responsible for taking out Tony D'Angelo in Shawn Spears. And he did, but Shawn got the upper hand. Plus, we also saw a game-changing contract signing that took place, which leads me to coming up this Tuesday. And here's some of the big news we already know about. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Here's some of the big news we already know about. After winning a triple threat match to be the #1 contender against Kalani Jordan and Jada Parker, Carmen Petrovich has earned the opportunity to go one-on-one with Stephanie Vakir in Stephanie's first ever North American title defense after Stephanie defeated Fallon Henley at NXT Vengeance Day. That's not all we know. We also know that Ricky Saints and Javon Evans will go one-on-one. I should say not one-on-one. They will team up against Wes Lee and Ethan Page. Easy fix, Ava said. Easy fix, right? Next week, Cincinnati, Ohio. Ethan Page, Wes Lee versus Ricky Saints and Javon Evans. Easy fix, right? Well, depends on what you mean by easy fix, Ava. Depends on what you mean by easy fix. But that's our match card for NXT this Tuesday so far. All right, ladies and gentlemen, going to take a quick time out. When we come back on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Monday Night Raw. How did Seth Rollins and Roxanne Perez qualify for that final spot in the Elimination Chamber coming up on March 1st, 2025? Who else is in the field? In which case, who are they facing? what else has been confirmed so far for Elimination Chamber? Plus, the Queen has made her decision. All that coming up. And I say yes, coming up. Still to come. We got a good one between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. But we'll talk about that. Before we get to how Seth Rollins and Roxanne Perez qualified for the Elimination Chamber. And the other match that we were able to note down, other than all other matches, including Pete Dunne versus Penta, which Thomas alerted us about. Thomas alerted us about before he came off on our last recording. We'll talk about the Penta match too. Maybe if we don't get to it this week, I'll save some time in our next show to talk about Penta versus Pete Dunne. But I will say this, Penta has been on one heck of a roll. He's still undefeated. We'll talk more about our headlines from Raw. Get to one of the big headlines coming out of last Friday night SmackDown. And I'll even provide you with my prediction for the Elimination Chamber for the Elimination Chamber match, I should say. Not qualifying, the match for the women and the men. One of those 6 women will either face Io Sky if Io can knock off Rhea Ripley, or Rhea Ripley if she can knock off Io. And we already know Jay is going to take on Gunther at WrestleMania, but who is Charlotte going to take on? Stay tuned. You'll find out next. Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Charlotte Flair made her decision last Friday night. The Queen chooses you. Who did she choose? Well, ladies and gentlemen, at WrestleMania 41, it will be Tiffy time, as Tiffany Stratton goes one-on-one with the Queen, Charlotte Flair, for the WWE Women's Championship. Of course, we want to let everyone know that Tiffany took on Nia Jax last Friday and won via disqualification from Candice LeRae. But the Hall of Famer Trish Stratus coming to the rescue. She came to the rescue of Tiffany Stratton, and I'm being told, based on, even if I was watching it right, I'm being told that it will be Tiffany and Trish Stratus going toe-to-toe with Nia and Candice LeRae at the Elimination Chamber. What else is happening at the Elimination Chamber? Well, longtime friends turned bitter enemies. It's amazing how you could love somebody, become their best friend, and then they turn on you. With all the stuff that has been going on in the bloodline, it's now gotten personal between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Toronto, get ready for a fight that is unsanctioned. It's not official. It's unsanctioned. What does that mean? Well, it means if Kevin Owens wants to powerbomb Sami Zayn over a table in the crowd, the WWE can't stop him. If Sami Zayn wants to beat Kevin Owens senseless with a chair, the WWE can't stop him. If they want to take the fight into the crowd, the WWE can't stop them. It goes down on March 1st. KO versus Sami Zayn at Rogers Center in Toronto. And speaking of Toronto, the field of play for the men and the field of play for the women is set. I'll get to my prediction on both of these matches over the course before we take a break here. And after our next break. But as we roll on, here is a look at our field. And yeah, I don't have my shared screen on, but you know what? That's okay because I have it via my phone. And I'm looking at it right now on the WWE Instagram page. They posted this 2 days ago. In the men's Elimination Chamber, you've got the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre, going up against Farewell Tour He didn't even have to compete after the Royal Rumble. He made it clear he wanted to compete for the Elimination Chamber. John Cena is on his farewell tour. He will be in the mix of this 6-man Elimination Chamber match. Joining him in the ring, he had to qualify just like Drew McIntyre. Give it up for CM Punk. He qualified just last Monday. He qualified just last Monday on Raw. I should say just this Monday on Raw, I should say. The visionary, the revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins has entered the fray. And just last Monday, before Damian Priest secured his spot in the Elimination Chamber, much to the displeasure, I think, of CM Punk, who said last Monday, before this match between Rey Mysterio and Logan Paul, "You had my number at the Royal Rumble, but tonight, the number that you drew was 619. Well, CM Punk, let's just see if Logan has your number at the Chamber on March 1st in Toronto. It's Priest versus Paul versus Rollins versus McIntyre versus CM Punk versus John Cena. Meanwhile, on the women's side, but first, one of those 6 men, and I said one of those 6 men, McIntyre, Punk, Cena, Paul, Rollins, or Priest, will go on to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 41, because the ring general, Gunther, in 9 weeks' time, will go one-on-one with main event Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. Jey and Gunther at WrestleMania 41. So, who's Cody going to face? Well, it's going to be one of those 6 men I just mentioned. John Cena, CM Punk, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, Seth freaking Rollins. It's going to be either one of those men, Seth Rollins, Punk, Paul, Cena, McIntyre, or Priest. One of them is going to battle for the undisputed WWE Championship that Cody Rhodes still hangs on to right now at WrestleMania. On the women's side, the fray is WWE Tag Team Champion Duo, the EST of WWE, Bianca Belair, and her tag team partner, Naomi. And surprise, surprise, Bayley. Ding dong, Bayley. You might be in the chamber, but there's trouble brewing. The Prodigy has also qualified. Roxanne Perez has entered the fray. And speaking of entering the fray, Oh, just cry about it, will you? Liv Morgan. She's going to have to go in solo. She should have had help, but Roxanne was able to knock off Raquel Rodriguez to punch her ticket to Toronto at Elimination Chamber. And at the very bottom of the list, all 5 of these women better look out for the goddess, Alexa Bliss. Alexa returned at the 2025 Royal Rumble and has also qualified to enter the fray for this 6-woman, I should say for this one, 6-woman Elimination Chamber match. The winner will face Rhea Ripley, or if she gets knocked off this Monday by Io Sky, one of those 6 women, Roxanne, Bayley, Naomi, Bianca, Liv, or Alexa, will face Io at WrestleMania. But all Io has to do to get there, regardless on who she faces, she's got to knock off Mommy and the Eradicator, Rhea Ripley. All right. Speaking of that, that's a look at our Elimination Chamber. I'll get to my women's prediction of the Elimination Chamber match in just a moment. But before we jump the gun onto that prediction, 3 matches I was able to note down from Monday Night Raw, including the phenomenal one, AJ Styles going toe-to-toe with Dirty Dominic Mysterio. I believe AJ knocked off Dominic, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. The one person I do know that knocked him off after the match was Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker was looking to spear the phenomenal one, and instead, thanks to AJ's quickness to get out of the way, Dominic ended up getting speared by Braun Breaker. You know, maybe AJ's right. Maybe AJ is right. Maybe AJ is right. Maybe Dominic will always be Rey Mysterio's punk-ass kid. And for those who are young adults, I want to remind you that, just to rephrase that, maybe Dominic Mysterio is just Rey Mysterio's punk kid. I'm not going to say the other word I said earlier, just because I want to try to keep this as general audience as possible, but maybe Dominic is just Rey's punk kid. We'll see. Anyways, moving on to the Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. But I actually do want to take a break here. So when we come back, at least from my perspective, how I think Seth Rollins and Roxanne Perez will do in the Elimination Chamber after they qualified in what was quite a match on their respective nights to qualify. But to be clear, as we take a break, to be clear, Liv Morgan stated, when Roxanne Perez is defeated by Raquel Rodriguez's only job at the Elimination Chamber on March 1st is to guarantee Liv's victory. You know, that's what you said at Royal Rumble. That's what you said, Liv, at Royal Rumble. How'd that work out for you? Not too well, I assume. We're back with more WWE Week in just a moment.
Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
CNT Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down. Nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on CNT Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on CNT Radio.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Baseball season is upon us. Welcome back to WWE Week on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. Our last WWE Week of the season for a little while, but I will probably bring up more of those NXT versions. Of course, we don't even know what the heck happened at the end of NXT on Tuesday, this past Tuesday, last night, as we are recording this on Wednesday, February the 19th, 2025. Going to get to my prediction for the women's chamber match in just a second. But Ava, if you're listening as a general manager, we don't know how this happened. As a viewer, even though I didn't watch it live, I don't even know what happened. But clearly, somebody wanted something, and they did so outside of the ring, because looking at your face, it looked like you were wondering exactly what I was wondering. I won't swear like you said at the end of the show, not to quote you, Ava, but what the heck happened? That's the question. What the heck happened at the end of NXT on Tuesday night? That's the question. What the heck happened? We don't know. And we even saw at Vengeance Day, and Obafemi brought this up at the beginning of the NXT. He brought this up at the beginning. It was a call out to those 4 maniacs who attacked him after his match at Vengeance Day when he defeated Austin Fury and Grayson Waller. So who are these 4 gentlemen? Well, we might have an identity of one of them, and that's Moose. Moose was back, and he confronted Obafemi. And then, and then we saw something we probably thought we might not see. If you want a shot at a TNA wrestling match, or a championship rather, all you have to do is ask. You don't have to go to the general manager demanding a championship match. You just have to ask that champion. Ask the champion, and you might just get your answer. But be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Because I have a feeling after Tuesday night next week, the challenger to challenge for the TNA Championship gold, just by asking for an opportunity, he's going to regret that decision. I forget who it was. I think it was maybe Ethan Page or Eddie Thorpe. I don't really remember. Actually, no, now I do remember. It was Ethan Page. So Ethan, I would be careful what you wish for. I mean, okay, maybe it wasn't Ethan. Maybe it was Josh. I don't know. I'll have to run it back. With that said, we know what the field's like. So here's my prediction. I respect Bailey, I respect Liv, I respect Alexa, I respect the EST, I also respect Naomi. But if I had to narrow the women's Elimination Chamber match down to 3 people, I would bring it down to Roxanne Perez versus Naomi and Bianca Belair. And in those situations, I would pick Bianca Belair to win the title opportunity at WrestleMania, regardless who fights her at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be Bianca. But my second prediction, regardless who the champion is, whether it's Rhea or whether it's Io, my second prediction is the prodigy, Roxanne Perez. I don't see Bayley winning it. With all due respect to Bayley, she is a heck of a competitor in the ring and outside the ring. I didn't have a shot. I haven't had a chance yet to check out her NBA Celebrity All-Star appearance. And that was just before Vengeance Day. But I'm sure she killed it. Alexa Bliss. Wouldn't shock me if Alexa wins. It wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me if Alexa Bliss wins. Let me know what you guys think. On the men's side, well, you know what? Finn Balor. I think Finn should have beat Seth. I really think he should have beat Seth. But let me be honest with you. In my mind, the Judgment Day is crumbling. You could put it on Damian Priest. You could put it on Rhea Ripley as to why it's crumbling. Finn Balor wanted to get business done, and neither he nor Raquel Rodriguez could get it done last Monday night, earlier this week, on Raw, because they could not qualify. But now, the match is what it is. Personally, I see John Cena winning this match, but prospectively, even though it is his farewell tour, I'm also leaning between the Scottish Warrior, Drew McIntyre, and CM Punk. I don't see Damian winning this, but it would not shock me if he did. I don't see Damian winning this match, but it would not shock me if he did. I also do not see Logan Paul winning this match. Sorry, Logan. I don't see you. I don't see you winning this match. I really don't. No disrespect to you at all. I think you're an excellent competitor in the ring. But I don't think, I don't see you winning this fight. I really don't see you winning this fight. I don't see you winning this fight. I really don't see you winning the fight. The other guy I don't see winning the fight, no disrespect again, it's Seth Rollins. Now, Seth, I have great respect for you, as I do with every other wrestler in this chamber match, but I'm leaning towards Punk, McIntyre, and Cena. I would love Cena to win this match. I would love for John Cena to win this match. I really would. And that's coming from a John Cena fan who's watched him on TV, hasn't exactly watched a live event in person, but that's a goal that I want to strive towards. Even doing this podcast, that's a goal I want to strive towards. But no disrespect to all competitors, I really want to see John win this match. If he doesn't, okay, let's just get this farewell tour done, and we'll see where Gold Opportunity makes its appearance. Like right now, the best thing that I can hope for is John Cena's health. And when I look at John Cena, I am hopeful. I am very, very hopeful. I am very, very hopeful that not only John wins this fight, but then again, if he doesn't win this fight, the only other man I can see winning this fight is Drew McIntyre or CM Punk. Will it shock me if Damian wins? No. Because time and time again, if you've watched Raw or SmackDown, where Damien currently resides in right now. He wants that opportunity to become El Campeón once again. Can he do it and punch his ticket to WrestleMania to do it once again? That remains to be seen. But we shall see. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Going to take a quick time out. And besides the action coming up on Friday Night SmackDown, we'll get you set up for some of the action that we talked about early on. Coming up next Tuesday on NXT. But when we come back from the break, I want to talk about baseball season coming back and what you can expect next week on Sports for Beginners during baseball season. Stick with us. WWE Week rolls on as we have hit the halfway point in the program. When we return, we close out the show with what's next for NXT this week coming up in Cincinnati so far, what we know. And what's next for Sports for Beginners? Will we talk more WWE? Stick with us.
Don't go anywhere. There's more great conversations and content right around the corner. Sports for Beginners will be right back in a moment. Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners. Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
Now, let's take you back to the action. To the rink and field we go. We find Scott McGregor.
Thank you very much, Ali, for bringing us into our shows. Thank you very much for all that you do on Sports for Beginners. And in case you missed it, we haven't done the video thing. We haven't done that actually audio thing for our liking right now. But let me just go ahead and play. Back to the studio. Oh, actually, I don't have it. I don't have it on my upload media here. Okay, you know what? That's okay. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. But thank you, as always, Ali, for jumping on to our show and bringing us in. And thank you so much to Sienna for contacting me on Saturday. I believe it was Saturday. Yeah. I believe it was Saturday. I believe we talked Saturday. Yes, we did talk Saturday. I won't get into the information on that, but what I will say is there is a possibility that Sienna, T Radio, and Sports for Beginners will be, and I say will be, yes, I say will be, colliding, which means more live streams, possibly, on YouTube, and maybe when we get things settled, we'll have some live stream action. We'll have some live stream action from Sienna T Radio. Maybe it'll be live stream on Sienna T Radio. Maybe not. But we'll see what our partnership with Sienna T Radio brings up. All things aside, a few things you can expect that come your way coming soon include baseball season is here. So a segment or two that you can see returning to the show. Things we should and shouldn't do at the ballpark. Things we should and shouldn't do returns this baseball season to Sports for Beginners. We also have our segment coming up on Sports for Beginners. I can't really find it right now on our thing, but you know what? That's okay. Things we should and shouldn't do. As well as, of course, besides things we should and shouldn't do, which returns this baseball season starting next week. We got ourselves hooked up for some excellent content on the way. So be sure to stick with us. I also like to do a segment where we talk about what to expect when you go to the ballpark or when you go to the or in this case when you go to the, well, I guess in this case, the football field or the baseball diamond. Well, I guess that would pass off for ballpark. Anyway, you get the picture. Or you will get the picture. You will, I think you'll get the picture. But the bottom line is that segment And of course, more are coming your way in this year's baseball coverage of content. And I can't wait to bring it to you. I can't wait. It's going to be absolute chaos, but I can't wait nonetheless to bring it to you. It's going to be so much fun. This baseball season. This is going to be so much fun. We got things we should and shouldn't do. And so much more coming your way this baseball season. And I can't wait to get started. I'll figure out where our introduction is over the course of the program for next time. But when all is said and done, we're coming close to the closing moments of our show. As we start to close out the program, as we start to close out our program, I quickly want to inform everyone that baseball week starts next week on February 28th, 2025. Recording will probably take place today, as the day we are doing today, which is February 19th, 2025. Next week, it'll be on the 26th. Our recording of our end of the month program for February will take place on Monday. That's this Monday, the 24th of February. And that will launch on the 27th of February. But all things considered, lots of great content on Sports for Beginners coming your way. Lots of excellent content coming the way on Sports for Beginners. And I'm really excited to bring it all to you. I'm real excited to bring it all to you. I'm really excited to bring it to you. Okay. With that said, with all this being said, with all this being said, with all this being said and done, what's next for NXT? Well, coming up next for NXT, Stephanie Vakir defends the North American Championship against Carmen Petrovich. Ethan Page and Wesley go toe-to-toe with Ricky Saints. That's right, Ricky Saints. And Javon Holland. That's all the action I know of for sure right now. Maybe if I re-listen to NXT, I'll be able to knock out the rest of the results for NXT's upcoming matchups on the 25th, which is next Tuesday. But, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for another episode of WWE Week. And per my conversation with host of On the Ice and Behind the Benches, Thomas McGregor, WWE Week will continue to be a thing, only this time in post-show format. And Thomas will fill in to do those for you. We might add NXT, but we're going to focus on the red and blue brands, including the one we get you ready for this Friday night, February 21st, 2025. In February 21st in of course, Friday Night SmackDown this Friday in 2025. Lots to get to. But with that said, my name is Scott McGregor. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the podcast. Would love it if you took a second to rate, review, and share the podcast. Have a great rest of your day. Go Bills for my Bills Mafia fans out there. Let's go Pens for my Penguins Nation out there. And until next time, keep calm, be kind to one another, be kind to yourself, and we will see you next time. This has been Sports for Beginners, the podcast. If you would like to ask any questions, comments, or concerns, please email me at sportsforbeginners.podcast8231@gmail.com. But once again, thank you very much for listening, and we hope to see you all again next time. Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.